4 strategies to unstuck your stuck money. Can we say it that way?
Unstuck your stuck money? Why not?
I want to unstuck my stuck.
People do all the things these days, right? We can say
feeling-
whatever we want.
You feeling stuck? Let's get you unstuck. That's goals. Let's unstuck yourself. I'm Heather Branch. This is John Hicks, founder of J. Hagen Capital, financial advisor, retirement planner, who is here to share with you ideas on the many different areas of retirement planning that, rather unfortunately, now fall on your shoulders, dear radio podcast listener. It's a real thing that so many of us are dealing with, and we just don't know how, John. Well, I mean, fortunately for you, that's why you've got a job.
Absolutely. Job security. Job security for me.
Even something as simple like saving to our 401k.
Sure.
That's what we're going to break down here, and how, because there is something to be said for the strategy of you save, put your money in your 401k, invest in this, and then leave it alone. Don't touch it. Sure. Well, but wait, there's more, because then your money can get stuck if you leave it too long. This is all according to CNBC's Sharon Epperson, because, well, there was a study. We saw the market volatility at the start of the year. Meanwhile, here comes Fidelity saying, congratulations to you, all you 401k holders. You didn't panic. There are still a record number of 401k millionaires who did not sell off their investments. So again, CNBC's Sharon Epperson was talking about how, warning, I should say, that leaving your 401k alone for too long can lead to this stuck money problem. Here is Sharon.
95% of the overall 401k investors didn't make any changes at all to their portfolios. That might have been fine if they were in a target date fund and it was, fulfilling their goals. But if they weren't and they just had it there because that's the kind of what they've had for the last years and years and years, that's stuck money. That's money that you haven't properly invested.
Of course, none of us want to be unproperly invested, John.
Of course.
We have this list of how to get our money unstuck. How can you go through these items and also tell us the strategies you use at J. Hagen Capital to help us free up this stuck money?
Yeah, so Sharon is kind of on something, right? So Fidelity just came out with a study and said, hey, there are more millionaires in their 401ks than ever in history. This is amazing. Everything is wonderful and whatever. But it made me start doing a little bit more research on things. The craziest thing to me is, even though all these 401k balances are high, it is amazing to me how inefficient so many of us have been with some of those accounts that are out there. And this happens all the time. Think about it. If you've got an old 401k and an old employer that used to work there, but you haven't been there in years and years and years, you just kind of left that 401k alone, potentially we have forgotten what that money was actually even supposed to do for us. As a matter of fact, there are over 30 million orphaned 401ks out there in the United States right now. So I'm going to say it again, 30 million orphaned 401ks out there right now. The question is, there's a high statistical chance that if you're listening right now, you may be one of them, because over $2.1 trillion, I'm going to say that number again too, $2.1 trillion are expected to be in those 30 million accounts that people have kind of forgotten about or left alone. And guys, when you think about that, wow, there is so much money out there that people have just kind of, quote unquote, abandoned. Yeah. Imagine if we were doing the right thing with those dollars, how much better off would we be? So some of the things that I look at all the time, especially when it comes to people that have money all over the place. And so there are 4 essential things that we really kind of need to think about. And maybe you're out there listening going, man, that might be me. Number 1, do you have a 401k from an old employer that you haven't put in your own self-directed IRA? Because if you do, my only question to you is, why? Yeah. Why would you not do that? Why would you not want control over your own money? You work for it. Hopefully your employer gave you some kind of a match, but you deserved that. Why don't you control that money? You can control your expenses. You can potentially control some of your tax issues. You can control how it's invested. You could make it more conservative, more risky, whatever you want to do. You could even put it in crypto. And I'm not suggesting that, but you could do anything you wanted to if you had access to those dollars. So if you're thinking, man, I got an account out there I haven't looked at forever, hey, call my office. Let us help you. We are great. My team are fabulous at uncovering old dollars. We do it for almost every single person that comes in. People just forget. It's like, oh my gosh, I got an $80,000 account. I didn't even think I had anything there. That's congratulations, happy birthday, Merry Christmas. You just got an $80,000 gift. It happens all the time. So number 1, people just forget about those things. They're not efficient. Number 2, here's the other thing. We have just kind of set it and forget it. that used to be the mantra of the Ron Popeil Showtime rotisserie oven. You just set it, hookah, 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 and forget it, right? But unlike a rotisserie chicken oven,
Yeah.
when it comes down to our life savings, we probably don't want to just set it and forget it. As a matter of fact, I've talked about target date funds on this show almost ad nauseum over the past 20 years, 15 years. And the amazing thing is that target date funds are unbelievably inefficient. You have left tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table by having a target date fund instead of more appropriate investments that you would have had in that same account. People leave all kinds of money because target date funds are more expensive. And unfortunately, they're very poorly managed. They're basically over diversified and overfeed. So because of that, people never get the returns. And if they had just frankly owned a money market account in whatever portion of the stock market they wanted, they would have been 10 times better off in some situations had they just done that, to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars. So many times that second issue is not being properly allocated, right? Those are big ones. Another thing that I see all the time is that people that just have accounts all over the place, right? They have, hey, I got this one at this bank and I got this CD at this bank because it was giving a better rate. And I got this 401k at this old company and I got my new 401k because they won't let me put my old one in it. And I got my IRA. And next thing you know, they are completely confused on what they actually have.
I've heard somebody call that's your financial junk drawer.
Literally. And it forces us to do some unfortunate, some really poor things when it comes to the financial decision making. If we think in our mind and we compartmentalize all these different accounts, we often make bad financial decisions just because we don't see it easy in one piece of paper, right? Think about how easy it is when you can see on one piece of paper your entire life, your entire financial life, or anything, right? If you have one piece of paper in your pocket about lettuce that you need to get at the grocery store, and then you look at another jotted piece of paper and you also need to get milk, and then someone tells you, sends you a text, hey, you need to also get eggs. Next thing you know, you're like, oh my gosh, I have 7 places to look. How do I make the right decision?
And you forget something. You forget eggs because you had 6 different lists.
That's it. So one of the things we always need to consider, especially when we're trying to organize our financial life, is to kind of organize that junk drawer when it comes down to all of our assets. Most people don't need more than 2 different places to put their money, right? You typically are going to need, your bank for your checking accounts and things like that. And you typically are going to need your investment institution, whether that's Charles Schwab or Fidelity or Vanguard or whatever it is. You typically don't need a ton. In our firm, we typically only use Charles Schwab or Goldman Sachs. And that's mainly because those are 2 of the largest on the planet. They can do almost anything anyone wants. There's almost no investment that those 2 companies can't help us with. And frankly, they provide more options than almost anyone else under the sun. But the main thing is that when people have things all over the place, unfortunately, we just make poor mental errors when it comes to our finances. So that is a very good way to unstuck our money, just by simply making more informed decisions and seeing it all in one spot. In our firm, we have software that puts it all in one place. It links it live so everyone can see not only their 401k at work, but what they have with our firm, what they have at their local bank. And they can very easily say, oh, wow, I've got way too much money in cash, not earning very much. Why don't I go ahead and take a portion of that? Maybe I need to get a new car for the grandkiddo, or maybe I can do something else and maybe make an extra 1 or 2% a year, which can be a lot of money over time if done correctly. So that's kind of a big one too. And then the fourth thing that we need to understand is that contribution levels, right? So this is the fourth thing. So people get stuck in their 401ks and they just get stuck. Hey, I'm just going to put 8% of my pay into that account. One of the best things that we can do is to reevaluate. How much money should we be putting into that 401k? Is our company still giving us a match? Because unfortunately, ever since COVID, a lot of companies have quit offering their match. So other than just saving money, which I think is always a great idea, the question is it the right spot to put your money? Because you can also put that money in a self-directed IRA or even a Roth IRA, which means that you're never going to have to pay taxes again going forward if you do it correctly in those accounts. And you may actually be substantially better off. You may pay fewer fees. You may have more investment opportunities, and you're going to have a lot more flexibility on what you can spend that money on and when you do it. So those four things that get people stuck, those are almost all very easy fixes. And they're really good, especially to just get a second opinion on by a skilled fiduciary advisor that can just simply look at things and say, hey, you got stuff all over the place. If you consolidated these 9 accounts into 3, you can actually save money in taxes. You can reduce your investment expenses. You can have more control. And frankly, you may be able to get more protection or safety since the markets are kind of at all-time highs right now. It doesn't mean they're going down, but it may make some sense to take some risk off the table to basically cash in on some of those awesome earnings we've had, right? And it's a really good opportunity to think about those things all together. And that is a great way to get not only unstuck, but to get yourself a better direction for when you want to retire on your terms.
All right, so we need to evaluate our allocation, make sure we're properly allocated. We need to organize, streamline, bring everything together, our financial junk drawer.
Sure.
We need to keep in mind our 401ks that we may or have forgotten about.
$2.1 trillion worth out there that people have kind of forgotten about.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
It can feel like there's a lot to do, but as a person, I actually went through this myself a few years back where I got everything streamlined. And I cannot tell you to this day, I still feel, I'm like, look at me, I'm such a good student.
Sure. Absolutely.
How good it feels to get everything just pulled together, streamlined for your own just mental clarity as far as the direction you're headed for the years ahead. And then, of course, figuring out better opportunity in that same space is what John and his team at J. Hagan Capital can help you figure out. So if you have questions about getting your money unstuck, let's get to work helping you understand what your options are in that space. Visit us at retirementsolutionshow.com. Let's get to work helping you get your money unstuck. You can also click on the links we got posted in the show notes.